Yes, it is I once again with another impressions video, this time of the Xbox One. What can I say and where do I start? I will start with the overall console itself. The console, and I'm going to be making a lot of comparisons between it and the PS4 only because that's the console that it's going up against this generation, mainly the PS4. So to start, I will say in terms of actual quality, the Xbox One it feels like it's built a lot better than the PS4 to me. It has a more sturdy, rigid, more quality material feel than the PS4 does. However, I fail to understand why this console is so big, why it has so many parts. And when I say parts, I'm speaking of the power brick plus the Kinect. The PlayStation is not only able to accomplish what the One is accomplishing, but it accomplishes it in a smaller package, no power brick, and from what I'm seeing, the PS4, for the most part, is running games better graphically. So why is this console so large? Is it because of the integration of the TV service? I don't truly understand what's going on there. But outside of its size, it really is a well-built console. Quality feel, it feels like that console will stand up to a pounding. The PS4, if that falls, I feel like it will break immediately. The One definitely doesn't have that feeling, and in a way I can applaud Microsoft for that because it seems like they actually took the time to build a good console. It is extremely heavy, however. It's heavier than the PS3 when it first came out. It's heavier than the original Xbox One that came out back in 2004, 2000 and whatever year that was. But it is just one behemoth of a console. Moving off of the actual hardware aspect of it and onto the software, I'm gonna have to give it to the PS4 in terms of the user interface. I know when I did my PS4 impressions, I was saying that the interface was very plain Jane. Wow, I have come to appreciate the plain Jane nature of the PS4's interface after playing with the Xbox One, because I feel like that interface is just way too cluttered. It's got advertisements in your face everywhere. It's just such a mess. The Xbox One interface is akin to what Windows 8 is on PC. It is just way too much going on. It does not have any level of simplicity. And I feel like, personally at least, that takes away from the overall console. It's just a mess. I went back to the PS4 UI and it's clean. It's got that background music. It's got this serene feel. And it's easy to navigate around. The Xbox just is clunky. It's got ads everywhere. There's the store, there's the achievements, there's advertisements, there's avatar. It's a mess. It's a complete mess. And what surprised me in a major way is that the console is actually slower than the PlayStation 4. I saw a video online. Well, before I go into the video that I saw online, I'll go into my own impressions of it. We were updating the console and we were doing a game install because, of course, it was brand new out of the box. So it had to have that 500 megabyte installation for the update. Plus, it had to have the games installed. And I literally fell asleep during the game installation. The game installs take forever on the Xbox One. On the PS4, when it was somewhere around like 30%, the game launched and you were able to play immediately. Not that you can't do it on the Xbox One, but it took much, much longer. Now I'll go into what I saw online. I saw a video of a guy that did an installation of the same game on Xbox One and PS4, and the PS4 version took almost half the time of the Xbox One. And that's surprising to me because the original Xbox 360 was such a fluid, fast console that it was one of the reasons that people applauded the Xbox 360 because the PS3 was an extremely slow machine compared to the 360, and now it seems like the tables have completely turned in that regards. The Xbox One is slow and the PS4 is extremely fast, which again makes no sense to me. Sony has done this in a smaller package, virtually the same amount of RAM, and they're running games better and they're running the console faster. That user interface of Microsoft's is probably half the reason why the console is so slow. And not that it's a slow console, don't get me wrong. It's not like this thing is chugging along at the speeds of the cross menu bar on the PlayStation 3. It's just, I'm surprised. I'm extremely surprised. Microsoft is a software company before anything else. So I would think when it comes to optimization, they would have that part of their business model pretty much solidified. I'm surprised to see a company like Sony actually put out a faster console than Microsoft. So that was somewhat disappointing. But like I said, overall, oh my goodness, there is a major amount of traffic on the highway that I take to get to my destination. So I cannot use that route. So yeah, that was really disappointing. The 360, I'm sorry, the Xbox One has just the most clunky, disgusting user interface. It's just like it was on the 360. It's just like it is on Windows 8. It's just a mess. I don't like it. Never did like it. Probably never will like it because they just seem to be stuck on using this tile model with all these weird ads everywhere. And what they've done with the achievements, my goodness, achievements used to be in one place. You could look at all of your achievements by simply just navigating left, right, up, down. Then you could hit a button to get more info about said achievement. Now the achievements are these huge tiles that you have to literally scroll a minimum of about 8 screens over to see all of your achievements. It's like page 1 only has like 6 achievements, then page 2 has another 6, then page 3 has another 6, and it's these huge tiles. I don't understand why. It's clunky in my opinion. I really hope they release an update to fix that. I'll get off of bashing the interface because the interface is terrible. The controller, the controller. I can probably sit here and say that is the best controller I've used since the N64. And I know you're probably saying to yourself, the N64's controller was horrible. Well, that's your personal opinion because I liked the N64 controller. I liked the fact that if I wanted to play a game that was analog, I could switch to this position. If I wanted to play a game with the D-pad, I could switch to this position. I liked the fact that it had 6 buttons laid out right on the face. Plus you had the triggers at the top. I liked the fact that if I wanted to play a racing game, the acceleration was right below there was the Z button right below the analog. I like that controller. A lot of people disagree, but that was my favorite controller up until the PS3's controller, which I liked a lot as well. The PS4's controller, in my opinion, is a step backward. However, the Xbox One controller probably is hands down the best controller I've ever used now that we're moving into this generation. The triggers have such a comfortable feel. They're contoured to the way your fingers would sit on the trigger. It has this slant on the side. Just beautiful. And I also like what they've done with the bumpers. The bumpers feel really nice tactile feel, quality feel. There's this weird thing they have built into it, however. If you're accelerating, the triggers vibrate. I'll go on record as saying right now, I think that controller vibration is terrible. I liked it when it was on the N64 because it seemed like Nintendo actually knew how to use force feedback. Now everything is force feedback in a video game. Something as simple as you walking, some games have force feedback. It's like it's overused and it's overdone. It's just one of the worst features I think that a controller could have now, so I always turn it off. And I was playing Forza with the force feedback turned on, and apparently there are built-in rumble motors in the triggers. It was the worst thing ever to experience. I do not like that. If I get an Xbox One, immediately I'm turning off force feedback. The rest of the controller, however, is just great. The face buttons have a nice tactile feel. The way that the controller sits in your hand is extremely comfortable. I like the location of the actual, I guess that's the home button that takes you back to the Xbox dashboard. Just a really nice quality built controller. I like what they've done in terms of the battery compartment, the way it doesn't have that piece sticking out of the back anymore. I really hate the fact that Microsoft couldn't just give you a battery. They had to nickel and dime you. So you either have to buy AAAs or go buy their stupid charge and play kit or whatever the hell they call it. So that was a big disappointment. Outside of that, controller-wise, I love the controller. Now, moving on from that to the actual games themselves, somebody got into a terrible accident over here. They destroyed all those barrels that they fill with sand to, I guess, lessen the blow. Just completely a mess over there. That's why there's this traffic. The New York Police Department, quite possibly the worst police department in all of America. Horrible people. Yep, that guy in the Sentra caused some damage. Hopefully he didn't die. Okay, so on to the games. Nothing really impressed me in terms of games on the Xbox One, just like with the PS4. This had to be, in my opinion, one of the worst launches I've ever seen. So moving on to the games that I played Forza, and all I can really say about Forza is it's Forza. There's nothing new. The cars look nice and shiny, the frame rate looks nice and solid, but it's another Forza game. There was a Forza 2 years ago, there was a Forza a year ago, and now there's a new Forza. It's like Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed. It's like Forza, Forza, Forza. At what point do you just get tired of a franchise when it's coming out year after year after year? There was nothing impressive about that game. It's Forza. What are you going to expect differently? Some new cars, some new tracks, blah. And playing it with the stupid rumble and the triggers made it even worse. That game is not impressive. I guess to some people it must have been like, oh man, I can't wait to play a new Forza, so let me go pick up a $500 console. But Forza is just another racing game. I felt the same way when I played Need for Speed. Like, okay, they're getting out of control with this now. I played Rise, Son of Rome. The game looks nice, but I feel like the combat is almost like Arkham City-ish. And there was nothing new there. It's a guy screaming. He's in Roman times. He's cutting people's hands and necks and stuff. It was blah. Nothing impressive there to see either. The only game, of course, that really caught my attention and is possibly going to be the reason why I eventually pick up an Xbox One is Killer Instinct. Boy, did that game play great, look great, and sound great. Double Helix did not disappoint me. When I heard that Rare wasn't doing this game, I was thoroughly disappointed. When I heard that the game was not going to have a full story mode and characters were going to be missing, I was again very disappointed because KI is my favorite fighting game. As much as I loved MK and Street Fighter growing up, and I loved fighters like King of Fighters and Clay Fighter and God of War and Maze the Dark Age and Toshinden and Soul Calibur, Soul Blade, Virtua Fighter. All right, I'll stop now. As much as I liked all of those fighters when I was growing up, KI was the fighter that stood out to me. Why? Because I was a Nintendo fan, and it was a fighter that was made by Nintendo for Nintendo. I know it was made by Rare, but Rare was a Nintendo company at one time. And I just loved that game. Playing KI 1 in the arcades, playing KI 2 in the arcades, seeing the Ultra 64 logo, and just knowing this game was going to be beast on home console was awesome. And then playing KI Gold on N64, oh my god, that game, it consumed me for what had to be close to a year. That was the only fighter that I put so much time into that I would literally beat my friends that were great at fighting games. And putting it on and playing it on the Xbox, it just brought me right back. I took that game online and I fought people online, which I'm not an online player, and I was winning matches. I was doing combo linkers, enders. I pulled off my ultra combo. I still have some of my skill from all those years ago when I was playing KI Gold. I love that game. That game alone is going to make me pick up an Xbox One. And the last but not least, Kinect. while it is quite annoying, I found it to be somewhat impressive. I like the Xbox read code and all this nonsense. It was kind of cool, I have to admit. I wish I could get the console at $100 less and just omit that thing, but it being there wasn't as bad as I thought it would have been. So overall, my impressions were positive. I liked the Xbox. The controller was nice. The console is a little too big. Kinect is a little useless. The launch games were garbage. The system is slower than the PS4. But overall, I like what Microsoft has done. And I think that this console is going to be great in the long run. Let me know what you guys think. If you own it, if you've played it, do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you think? I'm Goat the Great. That was my impressions on the Xbox One. And I'm out of here, guys. Take it easy. Peace.